opportunity for Charlotte off the set piece. It is going to be the man out of Poland. The shot, yes!
And it's gone in. It's an Olympico. Shiki pulls it back. The shot and another goal.
And look who's coming on. Ryan Romero. Here's Romero. Hit the shot, kid.
Goal!
For the city, for the crown.
And welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Offsides Podcast, the unofficial official podcast of Charlotte Football Club. I'm your host, Andres Robledo, and I'm proud to join my reappointed co-host, Pablo Robledo. Pablo, you're lucky. Charlotte won over the weekend and got you your job safety back, but you're on thin ice.
Luck's got nothing to do with it.
The team showed out for you. That's huge. I heard the episode. And
yeah, I had a little one-on-one with Latanzio.
you're like, listen, man, costing me my job, my non-paying job. Oh, yeah. It was a good weekend, though.
Yeah.
Team traveled away to Orlando, went down to Disney World, rode a couple of roller coasters, ate some funnel cake, and then made some quick work of Orlando City with the 2-1 win. Paul, why don't you start us off with the lineup changes and what you thought of that?
Well, there was a lot of lineup changes on this one. Just starting in goal, instead of Pablo Cisniega, we see George Marks, which I don't think I've really had anything nice to say about him. I thought he's short, just not experienced enough. And I hadn't really seen too much of him to justify him starting, let alone being on the team, but he proved me wrong. Big time.
How tall do you think he is?
He looks shorter than he is. He's like 6 foot, I think.
Yeah, I was gonna say apparently he's like 6 foot or 6'1", something
and
like
like
that.
Cisniega is only like an inch or two taller than him, but
Does not look that way.
It doesn't look that way at all. So I don't know what's going on with that, but man, I liked what he had to show out there. There was a bunch of saves that, especially, I think it was in the first half.
Yeah, he had some big saves.
Yeah,
in
where
both
like,
halves.
Where like we seen Kalina and Cisniega just absolutely miss those type of shots, and he stopped them. He was aggressive when it came to like those aerial balls. He was a little bit lucky in some of those offsides, but still, it was like, especially that first one, it was just point blank. I mean, nobody's stopping that.
Yeah, but those guys were so offside.
Yeah, they were.
They were like 4 or 5 yards off. I was like, they are definitely offsides.
Yeah.
But yeah, like you alluded to, he did really well at stopping shots to his near post, which, like you said, I think that's where Kalina and Cisniega have both gotten beat. The only knock I had against him was there was a couple of times, maybe 3 or 4, where his distribution was a little sketchy, like held onto it a little too long, or kind of just put it in a bit of a dangerous spot. But other than that, I thought he played a really good game.
Are you referring to when the defense passed it back to him? And
Yeah.
I see what you mean. Yeah, there was a couple of close calls on that for sure.
But other than that, I mean, I thought he hit the same highs that like Kalina has hit before, like made some just game saving saves, and like, man, it's well, Cisniega hasn't really played that great, but if you take into account how he played last season and how Kalina played last season, like, it's a toss up on who can go in that goalie box right now. But I think George Marks definitely like earned his spot and deserves to keep it going forward for now.
Yeah, because Cisniega has...
He's had a rough start.
On average, he's let in about 2 goals per game.
Yeah.
To say... I mean, Marks has only had the 1 game, but it's been way better than just before.
Yeah.
I don't know how else to put it. He just... I think he proved a lot of speculators wrong, including myself, so I will say that.
The only other negative I have on him is his uniform's a little too tight.
Yeah, it's
a little
short.
too tight of shorts, a little
short.
and the shirt's a little too tight.
But maybe gives him that mobility. Who knows?
I
I don't
don't know. I might need him to go up a size.
These kids. Well, they're like, this is all we got. Just like, it's either you wear it or you don't start. And he's like, fine.
Yeah. Walk me through some of the other changes. We had 2 changes in the back line with Awful and Lindsay. What'd you think of their performances?
Man, I really liked those 2 subs. Well, not subs, but those 2 changes. Lindsay, we saw his minutes greatly decrease once we signed Byrne. And then Awful, I've always rooted for Awful. I have nothing against Awful. I think he's great at playing defense and then helping out on building up the attack. And he's gone to do just that. In fact, I think he was one of the MLS Players of the Week, including Coach Latanzio. I think he was Coach of the Week. So that was a good gamble. And then Mora eventually subbed him out, but Mora did just fine. I liked where they put Bronico back to his original center defensive or just center mid spot.
Yeah.
I think that's where he plays best. You and I both said it. Like, he plays good on that left back, but he plays much better towards the center midfield.
Yeah, especially if he's like playing one of the number 8s and kind of getting forward more than playing like the defensive center mid. Yeah, I thought he had a good game. I think he needs to be a little bit more selfish at the top of the box and shoot.
Yeah.
He kind of tends to just play it out wide, but I mean, at least he's not turning the ball over or anything like that. But he had
at least one chance where, like, if he would have shot it like 2-3 seconds earlier, he probably could have put one in.
Yeah.
But he also, distributed. I think he's the one that got the assist on Vargas. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it was him.
Nice. Yeah.
But yeah, no, I like those 2. Lindsay, especially. To me, Lindsay has never really done wrong in my eyes. Like, he's always played really good on that right back position. And him and Gaines on that right side seem to be just like really clicking together.
Yeah, I noticed that as well.
Are really good, like, matchups. They go really well together.
And he had the great assist with Tico Petty to get the opening goal. I mean, that was such a good pass.
Yeah, that's really good vision instead of just, when you get the ball in that lower on our half and you start to build up the play, you just do it through the short pass in, but he saw that those guys were making their runs and just skipped all that and went straight for the attack, and which is just great vision.
I also thought I thought he like never really got beat on his side either. I thought he did a great job of just shutting down like their outside mid and their outside back on his side, like even like way up the opposition field. Like there was a couple of times where they were trying to get out of their own like defending third, and he was there to intercept a pass or force a ball outside. And yeah, and again, I think we said it all last season too. He seems to be one of the best like one-on-one defenders that the team has. So like to see where he's picking up where he left off. And I mean, actually, I think he looked better than any other performance we saw him at last season with his like distribution and again just his one-on-one defending is so good.
Yeah, like when we saw Lindsay start to get less minutes once Byrne came on, we probably thought it was like, well, Byrne's more experienced. He's he came from overseas, and he's probably just going to help out the team more. And it seemed that way towards the end of last season.
Yeah.
But anytime Lindsay has gone on, like, he hasn't really done anything to justify him staying or not getting a starting role. Whereas
he has like a high floor, I guess you would say, but a low ceiling. But that seems to have changed.
Yeah, but as of the past 3 games, Byrne has not really been the type of player we've been expecting. Like, I was expecting a lot more attacking on that right wing back from him, better crossing or set pieces, just things like that. I think I held him to a higher standard, and he just hasn't really been hitting those check marks for me. So,
No, I agree. And he's been caught out of position a few times. Like, yeah, he's definitely struggling to find a little bit of form right now.
yeah.
And let's talk about the guys up top. No Polish pistols in. Instead, we get Vargas and Mackenzie Gaines.
Yeah.
I mean, the Vargas one, I think, is long overdue. He's been showing up all preseason. Like, his preseason highlights are really good. And then even every game he's played in this season, coming off the bench, he's had an immediate impact. Whether it be like a cross that someone, he's actually been pretty unlucky to not have more production. I think, in the first game he had a cross that I think Westwood hit the post or Copetti hit the post. I think he's hit the post a couple times. He's gotten saved a couple times, but like he could definitely have more than just one goal right now.
Yeah. But that comes with minutes, like you got to start taking chances. You got to start taking shots, dialing in that ball. Like in the first, well, this is all first half, but that first shot he had, it was wide to the right. But, in the second one, he adjusted and put it in.
Yeah.
So that just comes with minutes. He just needs more playing time, and hopefully he keeps that starting role.
Yeah, I think he's definitely been the one to earn it. I can't see
Lattanzio going back to Yazviak.
Yeah, that would be a shame if we go back to Yazviak.
Yeah, it's just it wouldn't make sense, but we've seen that happen.
I mean, he's just such a different type of player too. Like,
yeah.
How many times have we seen Yazviak get in that position and then like just kind of either try to pass inside or run into a player or try to go out wide even more and run out of bounds? And
yeah, kind of like freeze up like, or not saying that he doesn't produce because he does. He's had assists. He helped Rios get a lot of his goals last season.
Yeah.
And he helped. He had that build. He was part of that build-up play with Capetti's first goal.
Yep. Yeah.
But still, it's very slow production, and there's not as much for as many minutes as he's had.
Yeah. And it's not as direct either. Like, I mean, Vargas with the goal he got, like he settled the ball, took the guy on, double step over, and then just like slid it past everyone. It's like that is definitely something we just haven't seen from any of the wingers that we've had. Besides, I would say Reyna. Reyna was the only guy that would kind of do something like that.
Yeah. Those look like my stepovers out there.
Yeah, that's what you think your stepovers look like. Stepovers look more like Mackenzie Gaines' stepovers.
Still quick. But that's another one that impressed too, was Gaines.
Gaines
had a shot on goal. He just needs to dial it in a little bit more. Just
missing the last piece of it.
Yeah, but I think it'll come. Look, Lindsay,
like you said, with more minutes, he's gonna dial that in.
Lindsay, Jones, and Gaines seem to be just kind of clicking really good on that right side. And I was like, oh, here goes Gaines with this speed, but it works. Like they can't keep up with him. They can't keep up with that speed. He just needs to throw a couple more a little more arsenal. He needs more weapons than just
I think he just needs to
side.
I think he just needs to work on the shooting too.
Yeah,
I think his technique's a little
I thought he was gonna bag it with that first one. It was just unlucky.
Yeah, with the pass from Bronico.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I thought he was gonna bag that, but
that's what I mean. I think his technique is just a little off.
Yeah, maybe he froze and just kind of took a wild shot and just shot it straight at the keeper. Because that's what players have admitted that. There's like sometimes you freeze up and you see the goal in front of you and that's what you aim at instead of focusing on the open spots.
Well, I remember in like 2008 or 2009, Peter Cech, the goalkeeper for Chelsea, he was like one of the first keepers to wear like a bright jersey. And they asked him like, why are you wearing a bright orange jersey? And he's like, well, there's studies that like when you look up, the first thing you see is bright colors. So when strikers look up, I want them to see me so they'll shoot at me. Mm-hmm. And now I think a lot more goalies are going, because it used to goalies used to wear like gray, black, like white.
Yeah.
It used to be pretty plain stuff, but now it's pretty fluorescent colors.
Yeah, now they're the ones in the referee shirts almost.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, but I think that's probably what happened. I mean, I could be wrong. But I thought Gaines had a real good game too. More productive than, Soderski. I hate to say it. But it's hard to see where like Soderski even fits into this type of formation of attack plan that we got going on. It's like
that's what I said on day one.
No, you didn't. I said that.
Day one of the season. I go back to listen to the first episode after we played New England. I was like, he didn't work out at the center mid spot. They moved him out to right wing after 60 minutes. He's not very good there. He hasn't worked out at right wing really at all. And now I think it's kind of, I think the question does become more pertinent, like where does he fit in? And I posed a question on Twitter, and a lot of people were saying, well, they were resting him because he's on international duty, and I really hope that's not true, because like no other club does that. Like if you're an international player, your club puts like their stuff first, and the international team goes second. I would hate for Charlotte to be kind of like the backwards team of like, well, let's not use our best players because they've got an international friendly coming up in 2 weeks or something. Like, to me, that's so backwards.
Yeah. I think there was even that controversy last year where, like, I think he was placed on injury reserve or something like that.
Yeah, I think so.
And the Polish international team was giving us trouble because they wanted to use him, but we wouldn't. Was it during the Open Cup? I'm not sure when it was.
I don't remember. I think it was
Eventually
like in August, right? Because it was leading up to the World Cup.
Yeah, I think you're right. But either way, it was like, the club comes first, I want to say.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, I think like
and we
the
also
club's the one who's paying you.
Yeah, and we also the Polish team. This past World Cup, it's not like he's as one of the starters.
Yeah, I agree.
So
yeah. So, if that is the reasoning, like, it'll be interesting to see when he comes back from international duty how he fits in. But to me, I don't think that's a good enough reason. I do think it has more to do with, like, he just isn't really fitting in. And that's not to say he's a bad player. It's not because of his skill. It's just, like, his play style and skill set doesn't really fit what we are trying to do right now. Yeah. And that could be because of, the coaching change and all that stuff. Because, it's not like Swiderski is someone who Lattanzio wanted, right? He's someone who Miguel wanted. So that could be an issue that's cropping up now.
Well, and that's another thing, too. Like, Swiderski's one of our DPs. So is Yazviak.
Mm-hmm.
And those two guys are not starting. So it's like, hopefully he's not running into the type of pressure where they're like, why are you not starting the DPs that we paid so much money for? But every time you do, we see no results.
Yeah. And again, both of those guys were guys that Miguel wanted, right? Were for his play style. And as we've seen since Lattanzio took over, it's a very different play style that we're trying to do now. So, I could see us trying to offload him and get another DP that fits the style more, like an actual good winger, or who knows.
Yeah. Or a more solid center midfielder.
Yeah, something.
I was gonna ask you, what'd you think of just the attack program? I saw a lot less crossing and more direct kicks this time.
Yeah, it seemed like we were able to really stretch out Orlando and make use of that space with Copetti and Gaines and Vargas running in behind, and just kind of playing through balls to them. But yeah, definitely it felt like a lot less crossing, more direct football, more of a direct style, and just like, again, really stretching out the team and trying to find like space in the box.
Yeah.
If you look at both goals, they're in the box. They're from like ground passes and build up play as opposed to just like going for a cross.
Yes, instead of going to the sides and send it in. Now, I noticed the commentators, they said that the field for Orlando is bigger than what Charlotte has. And they were saying that Charlotte was taking advantage of the bigger field to spread the ball out more, spread the players out more.
Definitely felt that way.
I thought all the fields were the same size. I thought all fields had to be like a certain regulation.
There's a minimum size they have to be, but I think you can make them. I'm sure there's probably a maximum as well, but I think you can make them because I think that's like I could be wrong, but I think that's like one of the things about Barcelona's stadium is they have a really big field. I think it's like 120 by 100.
That's interesting.
So it's like super wide.
Yeah, I thought all fields were standard size. Like a one.
Yeah, I think there's some
all.
wiggle room.
That's crazy. Another reason why Charlotte needs its own stadium. They seem to play better on a wider field.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, so I just did a quick Google, and you are allowed a range of acceptable widths and lengths. They're not, the ranges allowed under the laws of the game are very broad, but so the minimum is 110 by 70. So he has to be at least that. But I don't see a maximum.
Yeah. Well, oh well. I mean, it just looked. I was just overall. I was shocked of how well we played. We seemed to be in control a lot more than Orlando was. Our midfield seemed to be clicking well. Our passes seemed to be connecting more. Even our goalie was stopping more shots.
Now let me ask you this though: is that because the changes to the lineup, or is that because Orlando is they played I think 5 games in a matter of 15 days. So and they played Wednesday in the CONCACAF Champions League. They got knocked out. But I mean, if you think about it, they only had Thursday, Friday to prepare for us while we had all week. Do you think that plays into it? Or do you think
yes
the
no.
results would be the same regardless?
No, I mean, yes and no. It's like, okay, if you're going to have 2 squads, one to prepare for the CONCACAF Championship or Gold Trophy, whatever it is, and then the other one for MLS, then, you need to be training those squads separately. Like, they need to have game plans. But if you're just going to have one squad do it all, then, there's going to be the risk of fatigue and injury even.
Yeah. And
so if their plan was to, like...
I was just to say, because of the way MLS is set up right now, you can't really even have enough players to do the 2 squads.
Yeah.
You really are limited to just trying to do it with one.
But from what I understand, Orlando also had a lot of major changes to their starting lineup. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure like how many players, but from the past 2 games that Charlotte has had, half the team was changed. Mm-hmm. So, our starting 11 only had the week to practice as well as the new starters. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I think Orlando's probably just looking for any reason as to why they lost to a 0-3 Charlotte team.
Yeah.
But it was common. I mean, who did we play last year that was in the same position, and I think they ended up beating us.
Was it Seattle?
Philly? Oh, Seattle?
I think so, Philly. Yeah.
But either way, I think they were just looking for an excuse. I mean, as a coach and as a player, you have to prepare for both,
Yeah.
You're put out there to win, so.
Yeah, I agree. I was going to ask you something, and then I forgot.
Uh-huh. I even went on to, after the game, onto the Orlando Instagram to do a little bit of trolling. And I thought
How did that go?
it wasn't too bad. And no, not too many people took the bait there. They just kind of left it alone and cried in their own little corner. But I did see a lot of comments for Orlando to fire the coach and what's up with the lineup and why are we playing these players. I'm like, wait, is this Charlotte Instagram?
Oh, that's
So-
nice to know it's not just us.
Yeah.
It must be an American thing.
Who knows? But yeah, I thought it gave me a little sense of relief. I was just like, okay, so it's not just our fans.
Yeah.
in a
One thing
weird
I did
way.
want to one thing I did want to bring up again that we brought up last week is you said we started off 0-3, finally got the first win. But again, just wanted to revisit the teams we have lost to. St. Louis and Atlanta both still undefeated, both number ones in their conference. And New England, I want to double check, but I believe they are now number 2 in the East. So again, I think we underestimated the toughness of our schedule.
Yeah, especially St. Louis. I mean, they're catching everybody by surprise.
Yeah.
I'm still just in awe that they're number 1 for a first-year team.
Yeah. Yeah, and New England is number 2 in the East with 9 points.
Right.
And then if you go to the Supporter Shield, they're number 1. St. Louis is number 1. Atlanta is number 2. And England is number 3.
What is a
So we've
supporter
played.
shield?
That's just all the teams ranked.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Just
So
combined.
just getting rid of the yeah. So we are 24th. So we've played the 3 best teams in the league so far, and lost to them. So I don't know. Maybe it's a bit of a overreaction after only 3 weeks.
Yeah, it is. It is an overreaction. I just hope we don't have another instance where, well, I mean, I don't think it'll happen with what happened with Mar, where he was let go halfway through the season. But I think that whole situation was just odd to begin with, where it seemed like he didn't really want to be there. Players didn't want to play for him, and
Yeah.
whereas
Yeah, it's
Latanzio, he seems to be a better fit.
Yeah, I agree.
I also like that he is actually like seeing that stuff's not working, including his main players are not performing, and he's willing to take chances on these other guys.
Yep.
I just hope he sticks with it.
Yeah, and you can tell I think he's also like evolving as a coach. Like in this game, we saw him use substitutes pretty early on. I think Lindsey came out like in the 60th minute. Gaines came out pretty early. Santos came in at halftime because Westwood, got hurt a little bit. I haven't heard anything about that. I don't know if he's projected to miss or if he's back fine with the team. But that one will be interesting to see as it develops throughout the week. But again, like, one of the big complaints we had about Latanzio when he first took over was just like these super late substitutes where it was like, man, you're giving like these guys like no time to have an impact. And I mean, now we're seeing like some pretty early substitutes. And the other thing too is like, in the second half, like Orlando got a goal back pretty quickly to make it 2-1, and I was a little bit worried we were going to see another Miami situation.
Yep.
But the team grinded it out. I mean, I think he made the right adjustments, and nice to see that the team can win on the road early on in the season.
I mean, what a surprise, right? I mean, that's one, we see the lineup changes, then we see the strategy change, and then we win on the road. So it's like, what universe is this?
It's gonna be a roller coaster of a season.
Oh yeah, I was screaming at the TV. I was like, the girls came in. They're like, "Are you okay?" I was just like, "Why are y'all not watching this? You're missing history. You're missing history. We're winning on the road.
Yeah,
This doesn't happen."
And so this Saturday we'll be back at home facing New York Red Bulls. I think that's going to be a pretty tough game. Red Bulls have had a rocky start to the season. They actually lost to Orlando 1-0, tied to Nashville and then Minnesota, and then won last weekend against Columbus. So, they're sitting, I believe, 9th or 10th in our conference right now. But as we remember from last season, they're a very physical team. The games were definitely a bit of an early rivalry between us. When I think we played them 3 times last year, and every time it was a very physical, chirpy game back and forth. So I expect the same thing Saturday. I think it's going to be intense, a lot of tension, a lot of fouls.
Yeah.
What are you projecting to see this weekend?
I'm I'm hoping we see like a red card. We haven't seen a red card. We didn't see one at all last season.
What are you talking about? Pook's got 2.
Oh yeah, you're right. He did.
He's throwing people down.
Yeah. Okay, that was a really good. Yeah, that was a nice. I want to see another one of those. But I want to see.
I want to see Pook's come out and do it.
Yeah. But no, I think you're right. I think New York's going to be one of those physical games. It seems like New York, Atlanta, and DC United seem to be like real physical games.
Yeah.
I want us to beat New York. I don't know why. I think it's just some sort of thing with New York where we just have a low key rivalry with them.
Yeah, it was that way last season.
Right? It's like not acknowledged, but we just don't like them.
Yeah.
So yeah, we need to beat New York. We need to keep that. I think we have a winning record against them, or is it 1-1?
In the league, I think it's 1-1, but they beat us in the Open Cup.
Right? Yeah. So that's probably why we don't like them.
Yeah. Do you expect to see the same lineup go out Saturday if everyone's healthy, or do you think there's going to be some more changes?
I think Swiderski is going to make his way in there somehow. Yeah, I don't think I don't see him missing a home game for some weird reason. I'd like to see the same lineup.
Yeah,
but I think Swiderski's going to sneak in there somehow. Hopefully he tries Marks out again, see how he does. The one that's starting to worry me a little bit now too is Tulioma.
Yeah, I was actually going to bring that up. A lot of people are starting to feel that way, and
oh really?
Yeah. And
I mean,
watching his highlights, it is a little bit. He does get beat.
Yeah, and then he was just like out of. I don't know if he got beat or that's how we conceded that one goal in Orlando is.
Mm-hmm.
He basically got beat. He was like out of position. Looked like he ran into his own guy. Just kind of left.
He does tend to get like caught out of position.
Yeah, because I mean that was his guy. Like that's his spot. So yeah. I don't know. And then he had the own goal.
But don't forget the shot he had against New England.
Right. Yeah. So I'm not fully
the free
saying
kick.
Tulioma needs to like be out, but he's just on my he's on my watch. He's just like, okay, there's a little yellow flag out there, a little red flag or whatever.
If he hits like a 35-yard knuckleball that goes in, all is forgiven.
Yeah, for sure.
I'll take the defensive liabilities any day for the possibility of a long-range snipe.
if he's going to be giving up goals, he's got to put some in too.
Yeah. We've still yet to score off a corner.
Yeah, and that's another thing too is Westwood. He's been kind of quiet. I like Westwood. I want to like Westwood, but he's supposed to be one of those like a free kick specialist, one of the spot piece takers, corner kick specialist. I want to say we got him for like what, 7 million, something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
So he's like one of those guys that a set piece specialist. That's hard to say. And it's just not. I don't know if he's just not sending good crosses, or we just don't have anybody on the receiving end to finish.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, the only thing I would add to that is I'd like to see Nuno Santos get into the starting lineup in some way, shape, or form. If Westwood's out, I think that's an easy replacement. Throw Santos in there, or even put him out in the wing.
That seems to be the go-to usually.
He and Copetti had some nasty nutmegs and moves towards the end of the second half.
Yeah. Copetti
they were
had
playing some FIFA Street out there.
3 nutmegs that whole game. Yeah. Awful really impressed me. I thought I think he needs to
almost had a goal.
Almost had a goal, yep. Almost had a goal. Jones, I think he's earned a spot out there. I don't see why Jones needs to come out. Jones,
Yeah, I think-
like, I don't know if you remember. I think it might have been the second half, but I think it was the second half where the ball was in our half, in our box, and Jones had like 2 or 3 guys around him, and
he
was
just shielded it from
He
them.
just shielded it with like no worries.
Yeah.
It
I
was
think
just-
that worries some people. I see a little bit of hate for Jones online, and
Oh,
I think
don't
it's
see how
because
you can hate that. That's crazy.
Yeah,
That's such good
I
composure.
think a lot of people are in that, like, it's just the untrained way of just like when you're in the box, you just clear it, right? Like that's what a lot of people were taught when they first started playing. But it was, as you get more advanced, you start learning to play from the back and play with a bit more composure. But yeah, I mean, he's so good when he's on the
He was
ball.
so
Like he can
composed,
slow play down. He can find the perfect pass. He can like just effortlessly move in between 2 or 3 guys. Like just makes it look like they're just standing still. I think he does a lot like that. He just makes it look easy, I think. So I think people just don't like that. A lot of the movements he does are underappreciated.
Yeah, he's got a lot of good fundamentals about him, and then, like you said, he just makes it look effortless.
Yeah. I think it's another. I think people think he isn't trying because like he looks like he's jogging, but he's covering a ton of ground. Like
Yeah, I think we said it last season. For like every one Jones step is like a 3 for Vargas or anybody else really.
Yeah.
He just covers. He does cover a lot of ground. I mean, if you go back and look at the match, he's helping the attack and the defense like he's supposed to.
Yeah.
You don't see
He's
him really,
always
like,
in
trying to
a good
catch up.
spot.
Yeah, yeah. But I want to see, I feel like he's one that should be getting those headers in.
Yeah. But we'll say if the game gets
expect that out of tall guys.
Yeah, if the game gets physical, I definitely want him in the starting lineup.
Yeah, I mean, just jump up there and throw a little elbow out.
Yeah. They ain't gonna call it.
I mean, of all the yellows that I saw, it was especially like Bronico. He didn't even get one for a foul, like a physical foul. It was like a time wasting foul. Like, I was like, really? Like that's what you're gonna give him a yellow for? Not everything else.
That ref was giving us yellows like he was getting paid by the yellow.
I mean,
We got like 5 or 6 yellows.
So that's another thing. What did you think of the roughing? I thought it was pretty fair for the most part, except for those 2 yellows.
I thought every time we did something, we got a yellow.
Yeah.
I thought he called it both ways, but he didn't like give out yellows both ways.
Well, there was the instance in the first half where Milanda, if that guy would have went down in the box, he might have got a PK, but he let the play go on. He called a couple or one handball that I can recall for Orlando or against Orlando. But then there was also when Capetti went down in their box, he just did a play on as well. So I thought that was pretty 50-50 of him. I wasn't thrilled with the roughing, but who is, right? But it
wasn't as bad as it normally is.
Yeah, it wasn't horrendous. It wasn't like this guy's clearly getting something out of it.
Yeah. Well, that'll be another thing to watch out for this Saturday, especially if it's going to be, like we said, a physical game. Yeah, hopefully we get a good ref.
We never get good refs. Not on home games.
Yeah. Any closing thoughts? You got a score prediction for us?
Well, let's see. We did our first 4 games predictions. I got one of them right. You got 0.
Yeah, but I did that to help us. I anti-cursed us.
So I'm winning, basically.
Because I was a sacrifice.
Go ahead. My sacrifice.
No, this time I'm going to be selfish and hopefully get it right. I think it... Oh, man.
See, that you're already doubting. New York.
No, I think we'll win. I think we're gonna win
2-0.
Dang, see, I think New York does get 1. So I'm wondering if it's gonna be 2-1 again or 1-1.
At home?
I'm gonna go 2-1.
All right, so you're saying, okay, we win at home, New York.
Yeah, we win at home 2-1.
Okay, I'm saying 2-0. I think Tulioma narrows it down, or fixes.
How many
his
people
little
do you think
issue.
are going to go to the game?
Oh, it's probably more. I would hope now. I did
Yeah.
see that on Instagram where
They're like, the tickets available.
there's like somebody posted
Like a lot of
something
people
about
left.
yeah, they're like, make tickets cheaper or start winning more, and that's just like, yikes.
Yeah. Because,
Um,
man, I mean, against, who was it against? The Atlanta game. I mean, that was
rough.
what so many people left. I'd never seen that before. And I know we talked about it on an earlier episode, but that does make me wonder, like, how that's going to affect, home attendance going forward. I think the team's going to have to win a couple games. I don't think this one win away is going to do it. I think some people are probably going to bail on this one and be like, nah, not worth it. And, like, I mean, the tickets are expensive.
I mean, there's some that aren't too bad. You can get some, I think, in the upper section for about, cheapest I've seen is like 78. So it's not
That's
terrible.
a lot, though.
Well,
I mean,
whatever.
for the average family of four, I mean, that's like, what, $280 or something? Like $300 for, a game? I don't know.
Yeah. It's worth it. Gotta go support the club.
Yeah. We'll see. I think this will
I
be
don't see
a
lot
good
of New
test
York
of
people coming down.
Nah, there's no way.
Might be some like closet fans that pop out of nowhere.
Yeah. Some transplants
Yeah, or you might see some guys
coming down here and raising our home prices, but not supporting our club. See how it is.
Yeah, or there might be some jersey changes in the bathrooms. You know who you are.
Yeah. Should have done that for the Atlanta game.
After
I was gonna
New
say-
York, we got Toronto. I think that
Yeah, that's
is
gonna be
probably
an
gonna
interesting
a
one.
tie. Toronto was tough last year, especially after they got those two DPs.
Yeah, I think one of them's hurt right now, and
Oh, good.
looks like they've won one, lost one, and tied two, so they're doing all right. But I think if the team can pull a win against New York and I mean definitely if they win against Toronto with this like new lineup, I think it's a big statement of like the changes Latanzio's making, and like the team is learning the system each week more and more. Like I think it's a good statement for the rest of the season. I do think like these first three losses were just like unfortunate timing of like just running into the three best teams right now, while trying to learn a new system and while trying to figure out who your best 11 is. But I think this Orlando win has, at least to me, a little bit of like an asterisk, so you got to take it with a little bit of grain of salt because they did play 2 days prior, and that does wear on the team. But I think if we get another win like that or another performance like that against New York, I think for me that kind of takes away a lot of doubts.
I don't think so. I think Orlando had plenty of time to prepare. I mean, those guys are 20-something-year-olds, maybe 30s. All they do is train. Like, they should be used to being tired. I mean, I was playing ball and going to classes. I'm not tired. I'm tired now. Wasn't tired then. But no, I mean, those guys get paid to be tired. So I don't think Orlando was a fluke. I think we just, they got beat. Eventually, you're going to get beat by a bottom table team.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
No,
I do think more than anything, it's the just the timing of the schedule. I think our schedule turned out the opening matches turned out to be a lot harder than we originally thought.
Yeah.
I mean, who could have foreseen Atlanta, New England, and St. Louis being the best teams in the league right now?
Yeah, St. Louis definitely caught me by surprise.
Yeah.
I know Atlanta's always been, like a mid-table, or they've been good.
I didn't think they'd be good this year, but
who knows?
I guess here we are.
New England, I don't know. They're 50-50. Who do we got after New York? Now, after New York, we got Toronto. That's April 1st, so that's going to be an April Fool's game. I think Toronto's going to be a tie. I want to say we're on the road for that.
Yeah. Yeah, we are. That's the one thing we've yet to do is tie, which was a big issue last season.
Yeah.
Especially on the road. I mean, wins are great, but the minimum you'd like to see some ties.
I want to see a win
down
out
on
of
your losses.
I want to see a win out of Toronto. Toronto's right now is holding 8th, with a bunch of other teams getting ready to snag that spot. But you said one of their DPs is hurt, so hopefully it stays that way.
Yeah.
And we can pull off a win. But I'm gonna say that's gonna be like a 1-1 tie.
Nice.
Yeah. What do you think?
Yeah, 1-1 or 0-0, something like that. I would like to see a tie, if we're not gonna get a win. And again, on the road, it's always tough. And I mean, we've got an interesting stretch of schedule, like Toronto, and then Real Salt Lake, Colorado, and then Columbus, and then DC United.
Yeah. Well, and then
kinda
after Toronto is Real Salt Lake, which you just mentioned. They're also currently sitting at number 8.
Yeah. So it's all kind of like mid-table teams.
Right.
That
I mean, it's
we're
still
gonna go up
early.
against.
These tables are going to change so much.
Yeah, but I mean, even just compared to like last season, I think DC they finished like last or 14th.
Right.
Columbus finished I think like 7th or 6th, so just barely made playoffs. Or actually, they might have missed playoffs. I think Toronto is that mid-table. So is Orlando. So we're kind of hitting the more median teams now. So we'll see how it goes.
Let me see. 2022.
The team could be poised for a big run of just chaining together a bunch of
Look,
wins.
Toronto last year they finished 13th.
Okay.
And then who did we say? Real Salt Lake. They're over in the Western, right? Yeah. Real Salt Lake finished 7th, so they went to the playoffs. Then after that, we got Colorado Rapids. They ended up finishing 10th, and I believe right now they're bottom of the table. That should be a win for us. At least, I want to say 3-0. Depends. Are we home or away for that one? I cannot tell.
We are home. Yep.
Yeah. So, yeah, that should be like a 3-0 win for us.
Yeah.
And I'm saying 3-0 because we need that goal differential to go up because in the end, that does help out some.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, but like I said, we've got a good stretch of games coming up where we should see some good results. Mm-hmm. And then we run into New York City and Atlanta United. Those are going to be 2 tough games. And then Chicago, Nashville. Those should be some decent games. And then we run into LA and Philly. I don't know, because there's also that other tournament starting as well.
That's going to be tricky.
Yeah.
So, everyone's going to run into that issue of who do they play.
Playing a ton of games.
Yeah. Get used to being tired.
Mm-hmm. Better get your fitness up.
Yeah. That's about it.
Any closing thoughts or wrap this bad boy up?
Let me see. I did have some. I was gonna read some stuff that those guys said on Instagram. There was Abram K Drums. He there was a post posted on by Charlotte, and they put up some memes, and I said just let the memes leave the memes up to the Charlotte FC memes page, which is just a little lower page, not official. But this guy was saying,
they do a good job though.
Yeah, I mean they were way better.
He's got some good memes.
Yeah, like much better than what Charlotte, like their official page, put out. But he was saying no. He said, "Boo! Official pages can have fun too." He said, "Let the social media manager have some fun." And I was just like, "No, I don't think so," because Gotta support small business. So,
Yeah. Yeah. Shout out Charlotte FC meme page. They're hilarious.
yeah. Shout out. Besides that, there was just a lot of haters on the Orlando pages saying, you're still at the bottom of the table, blah blah blah. But I was like, okay, well, what's worth, losing to a team on the bottom of the table? And then they didn't say much after that. And
That's how it goes.
that's how it
Take
goes.
your licks and walk away.
Yeah. Was there any MLS news that came out? I don't think so, right?
No, nothing really around us or anything. Like you mentioned before, Latanzio was coach of the week, and then Awful was in the team of the week. Surprised no Vargas or Capetti in there, but
True.
it is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, Capetti's got, 2 for us now, and Vargas is the 3rd, and that's it. But I am glad Vargas scored. I mean, that just kind of really cements what we've been saying since we signed the guy.
Yeah, I think this is gonna be like a breakout season for him, and I think this is just gonna be like the first one to get it going. Get a run of goals going.
Yeah,
I could see him finishing the season with like 10 plus goals.
nice. Wow. It's pretty good.
I mean, he just always has one on frame, like every game.
Yeah.
So like you said, if he just gets more minutes, like that one on frame turns to like 3 or 4, and one of those has got to turn into a goal.
Yeah,
So,
I think eventually he just gets it to where it just comes more naturally to him, and he just takes longer distance shots or becomes more aggressive. Like he can only get better. I would think.
yeah, and he's so young too. Like
Young.
I think he's like 21, something like that, or maybe even just 20.
Yeah,
It's crazy.
that's good.
Hit the game breaker on him.
I think that's another thing. Like Charlotte has just a lot of like diamonds in the rough that get overshadowed by the DPs or the major signings that we had last year towards the end of the season. Nuno Santos being one of them. Lindsay, I think he's got a lot of good potential. So does Gaines. He's got to be refined a little bit more. But I think Gaines could be like a real troublemaker on that right side.
Mm-hmm.
And then Vargas, of course. Everybody loves Vargas.
Mm-hmm. They're all singing that tune now.
Which is
Hopping on the wagon.
Yeah.
All right, that's going to do it for us. As we always mention, you guys, if you want more interaction with us, feel free to mention us on Twitter at offsides_CLTFC or on Instagram at the same handle. Also, all our episodes are on YouTube at Offsides Podcast. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you're enjoying the episode and you want to help us grow, feel free to share it with a friend. That's going to be like the best way for us to grow. And also, wherever you're listening to, if you can leave a review, that also helps us move up the charts and lets more people find us. But other than that, we will see you guys next week. Bye.
Hasta mañana.
Wow, you got to love that.